So just for the record, Collingwood's percentage is keeping them in the 4. You're not quite live there.
Okay.
They're 0.4% higher than Hawthorn.
So actually, Collingwood should be fine, provided they beat Melbourne next week. They should still be in the top 4.
Unless Gold Coast win both of their games.
Which they will.
Oh, of course. Will they, though?
Well, Port Adelaide is a bit of a banana skin for them.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Come on, Port. Oh, they're going to beat Essendon anyway, aren't they?
So the Gold Coast would go to 64 points.
So we actually...
Oh, wow.
It's actually possible that we won't know if Fremantle have made the finals even after their game. Because if Gold Coast lose to Port and the Dockers lose to the Bulldogs, we still have to wait to see if Gold Coast beat Essendon. Because otherwise, Gold Coast missed the finals.
No, I don't think there's any jeopardy around that game
You'd
for Gold
think
Coast.
so, but technically it still won't be locked in for another 6 days or 4 days, I think.
That's at Gold Coast home ground as well.
Yeah.
So that's what you were saying. Gold Coast are the team, based on percentage, if they were to flog Essendon, they could jump into the 4.
I think...
If they win both of their games.
They need to win both of their games.
It's just going to come down to that Freo Dogs game. Brilliant. Can't wait to be at Marvel for that.
There's no other way to dress up that pig.
I think this perfectly segues us into talking about who we think are Premiership credentialed, who can win the flag in 2025. Adelaide have just made a massive statement tonight, and I feel like as much as I haven't completely written off Collingwood, I feel like it's starting to get more difficult for them now, particularly if they make the top 4. My sort of theory overall with this season, based on how close it's been, I think top 4 becomes more important, not less important. Even though you've got teams outside the 4 that are in with a chance, I think the protection of the top 4 means more this year.
Yeah, I agree. I've been saying since the start of the season, it's going to be one of Geelong, Collingwood or Brisbane. And I feel like now there's just a few too many holes in this Collingwood side. I think their midfield played really well today. To be honest, I couldn't really fault that performance. Tough game in the wet. I would say Geelong are my favourites alongside Brisbane, and you've got to add Adelaide to that basket now. They've all but sewed up top spot, minor premiership. Definitely going to get a home final and have the chance to play a home prelim. So I don't know if they're a flag favourite for me. I'd probably have Geelong and Brisbane ahead of them at this point.
Okay, so you're saying...
I think they could,
Cats.
but I'd say Cats and Brizzy is probably my grand final prediction. And Adelaide could, shake it up a bit.
In the chat there, straight away, Adelaide, Geelong and Brisbane are the only genuine contenders. I sent you a text earlier today, Jesse, and we kind of discussed this briefly. Is that where you're sitting?
I can't eliminate Collingwood.
You can't?
No.
Okay.
I think they could, in theory, win it from 5th. I'm not saying that I think that will happen, but I thought this was a pretty solid performance considering they're outs. A lot will come down to who do they get back for finals, right? So I don't know where Jeremy Howe's at, etc.
Is there enough time now, though, even if they get Howe back, they get Bobby Hill back?
Bobby Hill, thank you. Yeah, that's another one. McCreary.
Yeah, he was back tonight, but...
Oh, yeah, he was too.
Yeah,
he was though. Yeah.
I feel like there might be somebody else that we're missing.
Well, Tom Mitchell didn't play, so that's some...
I don't think he's actually unavailable though.
Yeah.
But
Bobby Hill and Jeremy Howe are reasonable size outs. Without, that's not massive. But I think the fact that they came to the Adelaide Oval and nearly pinched this, I think a bit comes down to where they play their finals. They've won at the Gabba this year. They played well tonight at Adelaide Oval, and an away game against Geelong is at the MCG. It's not really effectively an away game. And they did, they had a kick after the siren to try and beat Geelong. So if they can, they would have to recapture their early to mid-season form to win the flag. But if they do, I think they could win it from 5th. And all I'm saying is I just wouldn't eliminate them.
I think that they can win it if they make the top 4. I don't think they can win it from 5th. I think too much would have to go right for them. And given they're still trying to bring players back, I think they would probably need to knock off one of the top 2 teams from 4th and go straight to the prelim for me.
But
to be able to,
if they finish 5th, they host at the MCG week 1. It's possible, not sure, but it's just a home game. Let's call it the Bulldogs, but it might not be them. Certainly won't be Fremantle. No. It's an MCG game. Week 2. it's possible they could get Geelong at the MCG. In which case, okay, look, Geelong's in better form, but they don't leave Victoria. Prelim, they would virtually certainly have to leave Victoria because we've got Adelaide and Brisbane and potentially Gold Coast in that mix. But then in the grand final, they're back at the MCG. So what we're really talking about here is just one trip away from Melbourne. That's the best case scenario.
I agree.
But
I
it's
think
possible.
there's a lot of what ifs in that though, and that could end up being like a Brisbane away in the second week of finals.
Yeah,
potentially.
well, that's the only variable one is the week 2.
Or
but
even
they smashed Brisbane at the Gabba earlier this year.
No, they did, but they were playing better football, and I would say Brisbane were kind of Brisbane are building. I think a little bit more towards the end of the season than the beginning as well.
But even if they finished top 4, like they'd have to play them at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the strongest point, but they'd probably just play them in a prelim as opposed to
sure.
the semi.
My feeling about it for Collingwood is that they would have to get so many things in a row would have to work out for them that they're playing catch up. Like I mean, we can't really rule out anyone. Like I feel like there's the Dogs, the Giants are also kind of dangerous in this final series.
They're just incomplete though, aren't they?
They are. Like I think that's the thing. They could go on a bit of a run, but I feel like this year more than other years, I feel less confident about those teams outside. It's funny because I think most of the back end of this season we've been talking about how even that top 9 is, but it actually feels as we're coming towards round 24, it's becoming more clear.
Yeah.
With these top 3 teams. Like I was looking at Geelong stats this week. Number 1 forward half team for percentage of the ball being in their front half. Number 2 from scoring from D50. Number 1 D50 score rate. So like they don't have the highest points that they score from D50, but the rate at which they do it from. So basically they have the ball in their forward half more, but when they do get opportunities to score from the back half, they can. Number 1 team, it scores per chain. So basically every time they chain up, they score.
Yeah.
Like they're the top team at doing that. Number 1 for expected scores and number 1 at intercepts. Like it's such a complete profile that the Cats, and I think they're going under the radar a little bit this season. So
100%.
they're the number 1 seed for me.
You were saying the Suns are a bit of a sneaky one yesterday, Jesse.
Yeah, well, I saw them today and I thought they were really disappointing.
True.
My belief on that is just that I feel like the Gold Coast Suns will be really cute until they hit a point when they're really annoying because of how good they are.
Yeah.
And I could see it happening in a final series, but it kind of relied on them finishing top 4. There was a scenario before they lost today where I think they could still finish top 2. I'm not sure if that is viable anymore, or it wouldn't be. But talent, that's not stopping them winning a flag this year. It won't be that. It'll be the experience and the maturity, and they are still lacking that, to be honest. So I think it's a matter of time for them. I just couldn't rule Gold Coast out, but today they dropped in my estimations for sure.
I've got them down, just to do the ranking thing again, I've got them down in 6th at the moment.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think they're ready. I think their wins and losses and the potential for them to finish in the top 4 is propped up a little bit by their draw. They have had a fairly favourable draw sort of consistently throughout the season. And I see them as just a little bit too reliant on centre bounce and stoppage work just in general. Like that's really their go-to. Raul, Anderson. I don't think their transition profile is ready to win a flag, and particularly in finals. And I think today you see that game against the Giants where you had a team that was really fighting for finals and they got smacked off the park.
Yeah. Bit similar to Freo in terms of like
Ready,
show a lot and then get challenged and like
when there's like that readiness to actually have to play in the game
go to that
for,
next level,
for sure. I think they're probably at similar junctions of like where they're at as well. So I've got the Cats in 1. Who did you guys have at the top of the tree exactly?
I had Geelong edging Adelaide, but
Stop
honestly,
saying edging.
I don't even think about it. You give me a response every time. I don't think you could throw a blanket over the 2 clubs. Like, how do you really argue to separate them? I mean, Adelaide's higher on the ladder, but Geelong also beat them earlier this year. That was a fair while ago now. So it's really hard to separate them, I suppose, in terms of premiership rankings, in the power rankings. Do we factor in the MCG? I don't think Adelaide is a bad MCG side, but maybe Geelong have an advantage there, so more likely to win on grand final day?
I think factor it in for doing this.
Yeah.
Who you just think is more likely to win the premiership?
Yeah, so I'll say
not form.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about where they are on the ladder. Who you think is going to win the flag?
It's 1 or 2 of Adelaide and Geelong. I'd probably go Geelong.
You think Adelaide are more likely than Brisbane?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think I'd say Geelong are my 1, Brisbane 2,
Yeah, I'm the
Crows
same.
3. Who's in fourth at the moment?
I've
Is
got
it
Collingwood.
The Hawks?
I've got, Hawks are currently there.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
Or
then-
did they? No, you said they jumped them on percentage. So it is Collingwood on the ladder.
Brisbane have a demonstrated ability to stand up in big games and obviously won the Premiership last year.
Yeah.
But they've only won 2 out of their last 4 and they lost to Sydney and they got annihilated by Gold Coast. They're not unshaky at the moment.
I feel like they can just like turn the page come September.
I agree, but we're kind of like projecting what we expect because of what we saw last year. Whereas I would say that Adelaide has demonstrated they're better this year. They've beaten Brisbane.
I do think, to be fair on Brisbane, though, they have shown consistency from pretty much after about round 5 in 2024 up until now. They've shown this ability to be able to just score heavily in really quick succession, which keeps them in games.
Yeah.
I think back to games against like the Dogs earlier this season where they just kick 5, 6, 7 goals from centre bounce really, really quickly, and that's going to be hard to stop. And then their experience, the fact that they have that like knowledge and know how to win the big games, they have that trust in themselves because they won the Premiership last year.
Yeah. That experience is invaluable. Well, the Crows are also not this good in 2017 when they went to the grand final.
They probably were.
And yeah, I don't know. I feel like that was the Tigers' first premiership as well.
Yes.
It's hard to compare errors like that though.
Yeah, it is. But they also, funnily enough, had a really strong forward line back then. Like Eddie Betts was a big part of that, and Tex Walker. And I reckon it was not limited to them, but the players are kind of escaping me.
Jenkins?
But Jenkins was part of it, absolutely. But I feel like there was more. You lose 8 years very quickly. I tell you that. Were they better? I mean, Rory Sloane was up there as a top midfielder of the competition.
But like
anyway.
just in like the home and away season, like they were probably as menacing, and then like got to grand final day and folded. Like I don't think. Yeah, and like grand finals recently have been blowouts. I don't think if Brisbane came up against Adelaide, my personal opinion on grand final day, I think Brisbane will be there until the final siren.
You might be
Not
right.
to say that Adelaide won't be, but I think, like there's a big history of grand finalists getting like laying down some pipe on grand final day. And I don't think Geelong or Brisbane are going to get pumped on grand final day.
No.
Doesn't seem likely, but I don't know. We're kind of looking at the past and expecting it to be the same. This is Adelaide side is very different to 2017.
I feel like that's one of the most consistent things across this year from like general media. It's like looking for trends that happened last year and trying to think that they like assuming that they're going to happen again. Like there's going to be this team that comes from outside the 8 that started poorly. Nobody did. Pretty much the 8 was almost like locked in, and everyone was saying like, what about Brisbane last year? What about Carlton last year? It didn't happen. So you don't like. I don't think we're going to necessarily have like a Sydney of last year who crumble in the grand final necessarily. Like it doesn't have to happen, right?
No.
Yeah.
Every year. So
We're probably due for a good one.
we are.
Where are we at? Sorry, you go.
I was just going to say we've got an interesting just a comment there from Spatchson saying Cat supporter really concerned about Holmes and Smith's defensive efforts. I think will crumble under pressure come finals. My feeling on that is that Geelong have enough role players to cover for those guys. Like it's more of a system thing, right? Like I know Smith and Holmes aren't particularly, that wouldn't be a strength of theirs defensively, but you got Atkins, you got Blitzarves that does a lot of that like heavy lifting defensively, run with and stuff like that. And Oyson Mullen, another one that's kind of doing those roles as well.
True. Yeah.
Cats fan concerned about Holmes and Smith. That I never would have guessed that.
Defensive
efforts
specifically
in finals.
Like they're too much front runners, I assume, right?
Do you think like their defensive game takes a hit because of how offensively minded they are? They've just got that like high attacking work rate.
Probably a bit of both. Probably a bit of both. If you're I was going to say if you're setting up as the offensive like outlet in your midfield, then of course you're probably not going to lay that many tackles. But it could be also their mentality.
Concreter. What a name. I know GWS hasn't won a grand final, but they have lots of experience, a real smoky still. I'm not sold on the Giants, to be honest.
I'm in a bit of agreement. I've always been big on them. They've locked in their finals place now, so they can kind of...
It was a really good win today.
Yeah.
It was. That was like going to Metricon and winning is hard. And not only did they do that, but they were outclassed them for most of the day, as far as I could see.
Yeah.
I just don't see GWS beating Geelong or Brisbane on grand final day across 3 quarters. Like, good team, but...
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't think... Yeah, I pretty much for me, GWS just haven't had enough continuity throughout the entire season, I think, to put it all together. I don't think they'll make the grand final. No. I do think they probably could be a team that has like a sneaky prelim final run, perhaps.
I would probably lean more towards the side like the Bulldogs. Because Freo aren't going to make finals. Let's be real. It's just not going to happen.
Okay, so what were our top fours? I've gone Geelong, Brisbane, Adelaide, and Collingwood.
I went Geelong, Adelaide. Oh, I made this list. Don't look at my notes because I thought Gold Coast were going to win today. I actually had them in the 4.
Oh, you fraud.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I flip-flop because I learned new information, and they disappointed me today.
I definitely didn't do alternate ladders depending on how the results went.
Yeah, so Geelong, Adelaide, honestly, it's a toss-up for those two. And then Brisbane also pretty close to the mix. But I think the 4th next most likely side, I think it's either Collingwood or Hawthorn, and I can't really decide.
That's for 4th.
That's the 4th. Yeah, I think there's a clear 3 there.
Me too.
So I can't split Brisbane and Geelong. Gun to my head right now, I'd probably say Brisbane are my premiership favourites. So
I'm Cats.
Let's just say Brisbane, Geelong, Crows. And then 4th, for me, I'll look at the rest of the teams outside of that, and I think it's the Dogs, to be honest. I think they can make a charge.
That's hot.
I think Hawthorn are playing the best footy out of that group right now.
You know what my issue with putting the Dogs as that team? I reckon they could run hot in September, but they haven't even qualified.
Yeah.
They've won one less game.
All they have to do is beat Freo. It's not hard.
What is this? What is this?
This is some reverse psychology bullshit.
Yeah.
Because
it
you're
is.
stop protecting yourself.
No,
Yeah.
but look, they're the best clearance team in the competition. If we lose clearance, we don't win. And we don't move the ball well
Putting
at
out
Marvel.
some fucking voodoo shit right now.
This is bull.
I don't think we've won at
fucking hate
Marvel.
this.
Have we won at Marvel
I
this year?
don't think you have, actually.
I reckon we've only
played St Kilda and someone else recently.
I think we've only played once at Marvel this
yeah.
year.
You beat the Pies at the GE, I assume.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost to Melbourne at the G. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see us winning that. Like, you play that game 10 times, I reckon we win it once.
Yeah.
Come on. I think it's a bit closer than that. Going back here, just for the viewers, Jesse and I both said that you can't tip Freo to beat Collingwood earlier in the season.
And
Yeah.
you also said, I watched it back, you said Freo have no chance of beating Collingwood at the MCG, Dylan. You said that.
To be fair, who hasn't beaten Collingwood in the 5 game run since then?
Yeah.
13.
I feel like how that's panned out's been fairly unprecedented.
Yeah.
And a tricky one.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah, anyway.
we
So I'll
digress.
die on the Freo hill, but I can also pop my own club. I'm a
Yeah, but
realist.
the
and
swings seem too hard.
Yeah,
right
they
now.
do. Because when they
what's not
win, you're
reconciling
you'll be
here.
back. I reckon if they do
Yeah.
qualify, you'll start talking real
Well,
big,
Yeah, yeah.
real big until you lose again.
Nah. I'll die on the hill for anyone that like takes a dig at Freo, but then I'm also like a realist at the same time.
Interesting.
Okay, so you've got Western Bulldogs in 4th. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think they're the scariest out of. Like, if you matched them up head to head. Although having said that, like Hawthorn wiped the floor with the Dogs last year in finals.
Yeah, I think we are not talking about Hawthorn enough in
We're
this
not,
conversation.
because they've been brilliant.
Yeah, they have. And I wouldn't put them in the top group of 3, but the last 3 weeks, admittedly, I missed a lot of the Melbourne game tonight because we were driving here, but I think that they have taken their game to another level, certainly offensively, and that they not only beat Collingwood, but just absolutely butchered them. They were very good against Adelaide and ultimately lost the game, but it is a tough opponent. And they're probably 4th or 5th seed. It's hard to say that Collingwood's a higher seed than them, considering what just happened. But I also think there's a Jekyll and Hyde with Collingwood at the moment.
Yeah.
And we're seeing Jekyll and maybe it's Hyde. Or which one's the other?
Collingwood
Don't-
are one of the more difficult teams to assess, I think,
Yeah.
because they're probably going to finish top 4, which protects them, and that's kind of why I've pushed like the Dogs down. I watched Hawthorn today against the D's. I know, like, not the strongest opposition, but they kicked through them like butter.
Yeah.
The kicking skills are right in front of your eyes to see if you watch Hawthorn play. Like, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable. They can switch the ball from one side of the ground to the other so
Yeah.
quickly, and they're just gone. And then the forward line looks super dangerous.
The thing is, with
Imagine if they
Hawthorn,
add Butters.
The Hawks are great on the G. So if they can
Yes.
play throughout finals on the G, big factor. You
Yeah.
have to go away to Adelaide. I think that, or yeah, somewhere in Sydney. Like, it might be GWS or Gold Coast or whatever. It might be a bit of an issue. But yeah, at that elimination final last year when they played the Dogs, their ball movement, like guys like Amon and Scrimshaw just being, and
Impey.
Sicily, yeah, the way they move the ball, ridiculous. I haven't caught much of the Hawks in the last little bit, but
They were kicking the ball unbelievable. I've never seen
Yeah.
a team kick the ball so well.
that's always been Hawthorn, hasn't it? Just
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
left foot, jet kicks.
D'Ambrosio, did you mention him?
Oh,
No.
man.
But yeah, another worthy.
Freak.
Yeah.
Someone said, "Don't worry, Drewzy. Eagles will beat the Dogs tomorrow, and Chess will have a legacy game." I would love nothing more than that.
That would be so funny. But it's not going to happen.
Nah, it's not going to happen.
It can.
It can't.
I think if the Eagles won tomorrow, it would mean more to Drews than it does to me because I'm a fake fan.
Yeah,
But-
obviously.
No,
Yeah,
but-
wouldn't even go to the game, bro.
Yeah.
So I've got GWS in 5. GWS, I think they're of the team. This is for me outside the top 4.
Yeah.
I think GWS are the most likely for me. Then I go Gold Coast Suns. I feel like Gold Coast Suns, honestly, are the least dangerous side in the final series.
I suppose when you compare them to, say, Hawthorn, Collingwood, I mean, the Bulldogs, it's harder and harder to, as I look down the list, to find a team. I
The
don't
reason
know.
I'm hot on the Bulldogs is because if they have the game on their terms early, they're going to put teams to the sword as hard as any team.
I feel like
Yeah.
you're just having like a premonition
Yeah.
of Sunday.
I'm scared, man.
But their record against teams at or above their level is pretty diabolical this year.
Yeah.
that's
Except for the GWS win recently. So they would have to prove something they haven't done yet.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which could start next week with
What did they
Fremantle.
beat GWS by? It was like 88.
88, yeah.
Like,
They have thumped some teams.
that's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like, they get the game on their terms.
Yeah.
Yeah, the potency is there for all to see, but if
Yeah.
they're not, not getting the supply, for instance,
To be honest, with the Dogs, I think if there's one hole where they can really get found as a defence,
oh yeah,
like,
yeah, 100%.
big key forwards get hold
Yeah.
of them all
Yeah.
the time. And if a team, they do seem to have these like issues with stopping momentum from centre bounce at times, even though they're really good at scoring from centre bounce themselves. If the other team gets on top, the scoring just flows, and they have these big shootouts, and it doesn't. I don't know. I don't think that bodes particularly well for finals. Albeit, as you said, Drews, they're a dangerous team. So many stars in the midfield.
Offensive weapons
Yes.
across the park. Should Luke Beveridge get sacked if Dogs mix finals? Didn't he just sign a contract? That was the question.
No,
don't know.
I don't think he should get sacked.
Someone asked earlier as well, like if Freo miss finals, should JL get sacked? And no,
No,
no.
I
no,
thought so.
I don't believe so.
Build the project.
I think like Beveridge is kind of going through a transition period here as well
I got a piece.
with the Dogs. Yeah, go
There's
for
a
it.
Campbell Chesser comment before you
I
go.
saw that. Yeah.
Campbell Chesser, you either leave the football or the football leaves you. The football's left him.
Oh, I hope he becomes the next Matt Johnson.